Follow the finger.
Restorations where all turns new. Bikes and cars revived, it's quite a view. With Cass and Winnie, the restoration team will make these classics fulfill their dream. Watch the shades from rust to shining chrome. Each builds a journey, glad you've come along. If our restorations get your motor running, like and subscribe, keep the channel humming.
Hello again. Right, this Marantz vintage cassette player just keeps throwing me curveballs. I managed to get that spring working in the lid. As you can see, it's open. That spring that I made. And there it is in all of its finery. I've put a tiny bit of that welding glue just down there, just to keep the end of that spring touching the basement part there. Now I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm just going to throw this all back in together. Okay. These two go to the speakers. I've stripped them ready for sleeving and heat shrink. And I thought to myself, what happens if I plug it in? Because this is locked, okay? And there's another chap on here that's had a go at one of these, and he kind of threw the towel in because this was locked. You couldn't record or play or anything. He got the belts changed and all the rest of it, and it was fine. Now I've worked out what's stopping that, and that is this little piece here. Okay, because once, you can't do it. Once you just push this slightly that way, you can. It's so when you've got the top off, right, once you've taken the top off, you can't get it to play. All right, and the reason being is once this door closes, you see a little tiny peg come through the door there. All right, and that goes down very gently. You can see a little tiny mark on it, look. So very gently, just pushes it to there, which is enough to make you press the play button. Anywho, for some reason, there's a few bits in here that are very loose. Now, that is not my major issue. My major issue is, let's plug it in, and you can see what is going on. I am going to add a light, a little LED behind here. So we'll find the 6-volt supply coming off of the transformer, and I reckon it's going to be this red and black just down here. I should better find out what it says on the board. So let's plug that in there. Oops, where are you? Sorry. Plug that in there and let's turn it on. Ready? Boom. Okay, so now if I pull that little lever slightly and we press the play button, it plays. And that is a really good torque. Does the counter work? No, because you need a cassette in here, where this wheel here is pulling the tape through the pinch roller and the capstan there across the playback heads and record heads, and therefore is pulling this wheel round, which in turn, with those belts, then turns the counter, you see? Well, it's supposed to. Yeah, like that, basically. I do need to change that. That is softer than my cock in a sock. That is, honestly. That's crap. So, let's press stop. We can rewind. But it's doing that, which doesn't sound right. And it stays rewound for a second and then pops off, look. And that's something to do with this mechanism here. This is a fail-safe. If the tape gets slightly taut, it stops that. So you're not trying to tear your tape apart. And again, this one doesn't stay down. You can fast forward it, but it just doesn't stay down. Now, This piece was in there like that, and at the bottom of it was this piece, which sits up like that somehow. And then when you put your cassette in and you shut the window, this piece, you can see this piece in the back there. Right, so that's basically a shoe that the bottom of the tape sits into and pushes that little lever that way, and it does something to this mechanism here, okay, via this little arm. See that little arm there? Because that was effectively in there like that. All right, you see that so far. You see, pull that lever, blah blah blah. And I had this piece, didn't I, knocking around, and I thought, oh, where the hell does that piece go? It must go in here somewhere. It must slot in here somewhere or other like that. But no, if we look very very closely at these two edges, let me get a pointer here and here. Have a good look at that. They are jagged. And if we have a good look at this, they are jagged. That has fatigued where it's been used so much by that sweet little old lady. That is bent, those two, and it is finally fatigued and snapped. If you bend any, it's spring still. If you bend any metal continuously, it will fatigue and get a hair and get a crack in it, and the molecules will go soft and it will just snap. So that, guys, used to be attached to there. I have been scratching my head, trying it in there, trying it in the back, and it suddenly dawned on me. Look at the height of those two legs. The left-hand one, looking at it, is shorter, isn't it, than the right-hand one. That seems to be. And if we look at that, the right-hand one sits down further than left-hand one sits than the right. So I need to put this somehow back where it's supposed to go. In there. Now, how the hell do I do that? I need to first of all get that in a vise, don't I, and flatten off those two arms. I need to get these perfectly straight again, because if we put that in there, oh, I don't know. But you know what I'm thinking? Look how thin that is. Let me just take this out again, all right? Let's get this little mechanism out onto the work surface and put it on its belly. Rub his belly with a lump of jelly in. This is what he said. Okay, so now we have this sort of scenario, and that needs to go like that. Look how thin that is. That is, what's that, a mil? 0.75 of a mil. Now, the only thing I can think of which can fix tin to tin like that. Are you shouting at the screen? Are you shouting at me? Are you shouting out tiny little spot welder that they use to spot weld the plates onto LiPo batteries? You know, when you've got let me show you. If you're not au fait with what I'm talking about, let's go into the shed under the stairs. Here is the shed under the stairs. Let's put a light on. You are honoured, okay, to be in the shed under the stairs, let me tell you. Here are two batteries in my super duper head torch, which I rescued from my laptop, my dead laptop battery. 6 cells, one was Duff, and they were all thingy together like that, you see. See the spot welds? I've broken the spot welds off of there. Now that is literally a carbon rod with a point on it, and voltage going through it. You can make one out of an old, you can literally make one, tiny little point on the end of it, out of an old soldering iron. You take the metal tip out, and you take, I'm showing you, I'm telling you all this already, okay? You get any old battery, okay? If you dispose of the insides, the carbon and the whatever's in there. What's this one? This is no mercury or cadmium added, so this is sort of whatever's in there, zinc and stuff like that. Carbon. If you pull out then that carbon rod, it's a carbon rod that goes from there to there inside this battery. If you get that out, it's like a big fat pencil head. Okay, it's pretty much like a, you know, like a drill bit sort of thing. You can then put that back in the end of your soldering iron, okay, and do up the little screw. I think I'm right in saying, just if you're interested in doing this, guy, if you're making yourself a tiny little spot welder, Google, YouTube, soldering iron spot welder. I know it's boring and all the rest of it, but yeah, even Caroline's pissed off with it, aren't you, darling?
Sorry?
Even you're peed off with it, aren't you?
With what?
With everything that I talk about, basically. Let's go back in the cupboard. Yeah, this is where all the temperature sensitive stuff goes, or went. But now this shed of dreams is brilliant with its own little heat source in there. I can now keep that kind of stuff back down the bottom there. Right, so I need to make myself a little spot welder, and I think I can afford the luxury, okay, of just overlapping that very slightly. Where are we? Come on, just overlapping that very slightly. Let me turn the light off. That's better. I could then get that in a vise, couldn't I? And I could hold that literally just on there, and I could literally just tack with two little spot welds on each tab. That's the only, in my eyes, that's the only chance I've got of rescuing that lever, because that is, obviously, it's part of the working mechanism, isn't it? That does something which does something else, which is a knock-on effect to how it works. Okay, guys, well, thank you for watching, and put that light back on again so you can sadly see my boat race. Please, if you have any comments or any tips on what to do with that piece, I have been online. I have the part number, and I have the part numbers of that spring that you can't get anymore, and I have a part number of another spring which I think is broken and you can't get that anymore. So I'm kind of at a loss. I'm kind of having to repair parts and make parts, like the spring and like this little shoe here, little stirrup, if you like. Yeah, if any of you guys know of a way to repair that, because it is spring still, it's been under a lot of pressure, working backwards, lots of spring pressure. Is two little tiny whiny spot welds going to do each side, or is that just going to start to fatigue because there's literally no material to sandwich? What would you do? That part is so intricate. I don't think I could make that without causing fatigue on those 90-degree bends. This is how deep I go into things, she cried. And looking at this, we've got a groove there and a groove there. That says to me that something used to sit across in there. And I've been through all my bits and pieces and I haven't found anything that sits in there. That looks like it used to have a spring in it to return something. I mean, there's this rod here. I mean, when it's playing, this is going I have no idea why. Perhaps there should be a spring in there somewhere. Ah, we've got a hole there. Perhaps you've got a spring that goes from there to there to keep that tension that way. That would make sense, wouldn't it? So I've got to play all these little tinkering and adjustments game with this thing whilst it's running and see if it makes any difference to these buttons staying down when they're pressed. It's okay. Okay, it's working. Okay, effectively, I'm pretty sure if I put the speaker on this grey and green, black and green, I'm pretty sure I get a sound coming out of it of sorts. Yeah, yeah. And then it is effectively a working cassette player, isn't it? But it's only working sort of 20% to its potential. And I like to get things done as much as best as I can, 100%. Right, like I say, guys, this is going to be the end of this episode. Please, if you know anything or you know somebody that knows stuff about this kind of thing, please drop me a line in the comments area or email me at monsigna@hotmail.co.uk, monsigna@hotmail.co.uk. And I'll be eternally grateful, and we can go from there. So it's a Marantz Super Sculpt C205 is what it's called. There you go, on the front there. C205. Let me put that down there. That's exactly that. If you want to take a picture of that or freeze it. I have exhausted my limited knowledge and effort there. Right, so we'll catch you again next time, and yeah, don't forget that sherry, keep that flowing. See you later, guys. Thanks for watching. Oh, we wish it could be Christmas every day, don't we?
No, we fucking don't.
No, we don't.
Sorry. I didn't realise you were filming. Sorry, guys.
Anywho, after that potty talk and rude welcome back to the channel. Okay, this Marantz Super Scoop. I had a dilemma, didn't I, with that metal piece that had fractured. That we put the cassette in. Little tiny spring at the back of the cassette. I've only just realised what that spring does. You got one in every single cassette player. What it does is it just keeps the cassette itself in the platter, if you like. It just keeps it tensioned against the playback heads, just enough. And I won't bother wiring it up again and showing you what I mean, but I temporarily, okay, put the power feed in. I think you saw that on the last episode. And I put a cassette in there, and I started playing the cassette, and obviously it was playing, but it was very muffled. And then I just put my finger at the back of the cassette and just pushed it forward very slightly, and then it all became crystal clear. The sound was beautiful. So, was that on the last episode or not? I don't know now. Anywho, if not, I will do that in a second. Now, what I have done to overcome this fractured little piece here is I've used my favourite Temu purchase ever. Okay, welding glue. It's basically gel type super glue, and it's quick drying. It is quick drying. I held it on there for about 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Now what I've done is I've glued it on at least sort of like 2.5 mil down from where it should be. So that should be 2.5 mil up here, you see. I don't think that distance is going to bother. It's not going to be an issue. You can see there. Okay. It's tidier than it looks, in actual fact. Tiniest little blobs there. Tiniest. So, anyway, that's on it. Now, what I was going to do, that's strong. Look at that. I've just broken it. Right. Okay.
Sorry.
I'd got out Jiminy Cricket here to put it in there and glue it. I've only just done this, so that's my own fault. Now what I've done... Stop laughing, everybody.
Sorry.
This is a serious technical thing.
I
Okay.
give you such great support.
You do. Here is a pressure switch. Basically, this is out of another machine, and a wheel used to go round, and it used to put basically a set of points. So what I've done is I've discombobulated it, and now I'm going to very carefully tin snip it into 2 pieces, and I'm going to strengthen this really strong bond by just putting a slither up each back side. Oh, for goodness sake, grow up. Up each back side and gluing it on with the best glue in the world ever. And if that doesn't hold, I am going to turn it over, and I'm going to put that on 2 little strips on this side as well. That should be it. Do it, shouldn't it, children? And if that fails, I am going to build myself a little tiny one of those little, what do you call it, welding, little spot welder with a carbon rod. I will build one. It's 8:15 in the morning. What do you expect on Saturday morning? Cheers.
Barely.
So there we are. That's that. I'm going to re-glue that now. Put those slithers on there, glue that, and clamp the blooming thing, and then leave it for a good 24 hours or so. Right. I thought we'd just start off the video there on a high, and go see where it goes from there. Thanks for joining us back, and we'll see you in a little second. Probably. Oh, that's brilliant. Right, we'll edit that bit out. That last balls up. Okay, right. Timu welding glue is the best glue in the world. I'll stand by my judgment. Anyway, guys, I've had another go. What? There you go. I've had another go, and this is what I've come up with. I have put those copper. Is it copper or brass? It's copper, isn't it? Copper strips either side. Now let me use a poker. Either side. Oops. Of the brake, and we'll turn it around the other way, and you can see on the back. Let me just put my light back on. Oh, Jesus.
Did you just break it?
No. This is live TV. This is what happens. So there we go. There are the 2 strips on the back. Very, very carefully glued with ultimate precision, as you can quite clearly make out. I'm trying to fix a fractured piece of spring steel made in Germany with some glue and some good luck. Only time will tell. Anyway, onwards and upwards. I need to take this apart again. All of this, I need to take it all apart because it's not put together yet properly. No, because, like I say, the fast forward and the rewind buttons, they work, but they don't stay depressed like what I do. I stay depressed for ages, don't I, love?
Yes, love.
Yes, you do. So, right. Okay, let's crack on with that. I can't find a 6-volt supply in all of these little digi-doodrits. So, I am at a loss there. I need to look at the wiring diagram, which is on my phone. I downloaded it. And see where I can find a 6-volt supply for a little LED for that meter. Okay, right, let's crack on. Brew's finished. All hot and sweaty and bothered. And my glue is drying. Right, catch you in a minute. What a work of art that is. You know, it's quality work. Nanu. From Planet Zog. Right, well, I've got it all back together. That part is in there. You can see it right in the back there, just doing its thing. Yeah, the eject works. Let me just put my knobs over there a minute. That was fun getting it back because it only goes back one way. You can only put like this piece in first, then the top piece after the cassette player, the top piece. Then you got to do some screws up from the inside. Then you got to put the back on. It's all very good. So we've got the cassette player there. Look, and when I press eject, it comes up. That's spot on. So let's put a tape in. Again, the play button is locked. It doesn't do anything until, like I say, that little tab there pushes down. So let's put a cassette in. What's this one? Various, that's what I call music 28. So we'll put that in there, push that down. And now the play button works. That's cool. Right. Before I put the knobs on, let's just give it a blast. Ooh. Put the plug in there. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's me mini hairdryer. Yeah, I use the heat gun to try and do these things. These self-soldering connectors. What a load of kerfuffle. Okay, the bigger ones, yeah, they work, but them small ones are not worth it. Not worth it at all. Right, let's plot power in. Okay, let's put power on. Okay, tone is in the middle, volume's on the outside. Right, so let's turn it on. Let's press play. Flipping it.
Holy moly!
Everybody do-si-do. Now, that part, that bracket that I fixed in the back, I need to put a soft pad on it because when I press play, before I shut it all back up together, when you press play, it comes forward, but where it's been fatigued over the years, it's gone back a bit. So instead of bending a lot of that metalwork there that's very fragile already, I left it as it was. It's still fairly vertical, but it's a couple of degrees off, and that couple of degrees is enough not to push the cassette forward, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. Let's eject that. Come on. I'll get my thumbnail in there. Well, it's a little bit more strength on that spring, doesn't it? It's great, isn't it? Live TV, isn't it? Nothing ever goes wrong. Bleeding fluff. Right, let's get that out of there. Then we can squeeze in these two tabs and take this door off like so. Even that's got a special mechanism in it, look. You push that down and it clicks under there, and then that does that. All good. Right, so where were we here? Is that going to hit the top of that now? Let's have a look. So I've got to move that little tab forward there a bit, haven't I? And press the play button, and that should come out. No, it doesn't. Right, that's supposed to come out here and push the cassette. So why isn't that? That must be millimeters. A millimeter at most is stopping that plate from coming forward and just finally pushing the cassette in. Let me put that there. Let's turn that off a minute. You'll see what I mean now. No, I can't because I can't get to. Yes, I can get to the locking mechanism. There it is. There. So we'll press play. You see, I'm having to force that, and that should be pushing the back of this cassette there. At the moment, it's sat there. And that little bit there makes all the difference. And you'll see exactly what I mean in a bit. So I think what I'm going to do is get a scalpel, just very, very gently, just take off a bit of this brown plastic. It's just stopping that coming forward. I really don't get that, because I've put that arm 2mm down onto the old bracket, because it sheared off and I needed to bond it to something. I don't know. Right, leave it with me a second, and I'm going to whittle that down, and then we'll see what happens from there. Right, I've tried nibbling literally a mil so out of there, but it's still doing it. So what I reckon I've done is my springlet that I made. That's doing its job. Kind of. I need to actually bend that out a bit, don't I? So it's got a bit more tension on it. Is this, when I put this top lid on, that should have been through here, this side, and resting back on there. So it's already, so when you press a play, that comes forward and then pushes the tape in. So I've done a booby there, so I need to take this top bit back off, which, trust me, it's not easy. I've got to start again from the bottom, then take the back plate off, undo some screws inside there to take the front plate off. And I've soldered all the cables back on. It's good, isn't it? This is the beauty of restoration. It's learning as you go, making mistakes. So next time you come to do one, you just do one, really. Don't do one. Okay, let's crack on. Enough of this stupidity. Look to the future now. It's only just begun. Right, let's pop this back in then. Okay, let's very, very careful with that, because there is the little cherub that we want to bring through whilst dropping that down like so. Bit further, boys, bit further. There we go. Why is that? Oh, bollocks. I mean, blast. Yeah, bloomers. I don't really want to put my fingertips on the playback head, do I? Not really. Come on. It'd be great with another pair of hands, wouldn't it? Right.
What?
Nothing. She's got good hearing for someone with a set of headphones on. Right, now let's have the moment of truth. Do we push that in there and then play, and then that comes forward? Yes. Oakley dokley. Right, I just need to redo the screws up for this, and I'll show you this time. Let me just push this spring forward a bit. That's as much as I dare push it. Let me just flip it over. This is how flipping complex this beastie is. Okay, so we've done that. Then we've got to take the bottom off. Okay, there's one of those connectors there, those soldering things. Flipping nonsense, mate. Sure. Okay, now.
Sorry.
You will be. This one here is the solid slot. How do I know that, children? Because I've done it enough times already. So this is now clamping the lid down. All right. That's all that's doing. Clamping the lid down. Now we take this one, which is a slotted and a threaded. And that one, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't go in there, goes in this one. It Goes to there. So then we do that one up. Like so, just nip that up. That's all we need. Don't need any beans on it, so now we then push this lid. We offer the lid on top of there like that, and it should just very nicely plop into place. So we have 5 big long ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Making sure it's not catching any cables, and as it goes down, travels down through. 4, right, and there's one more round head to go on there, and that's the post we've just screwed in. See, it's all very higgledy-piggledy, isn't it? But that's what I like about the beauty of these old machines. You know, it's sort of, well, which screw will fit? You know, let's just do that then, because there's nothing really uniform about any of the fit, apart from these 5 bolts, screws holding this base on. Can you imagine trying to work out which, you know, you try and take the top off, you can't obviously, so you take the bottom off, and then you still can't get the top off because you don't know what screws are what. So I just, you know, going along and doing willy-nilly. This is before I did the PDF file, which I worked out before I downloaded it and then had a read, which is part of the course, isn't it? Oh, that needs to go back a thread till it jumps down. There. That's it. Now it's easy. When you're screwing metal screws into plastic posts, if you start screwing it and it becomes stiff, reverse the screw out until the first bit of thread pops back round like 180 degrees, and you'll feel it drop. Then do it up and it'll be simple, because that's how it's done it before. You can get it 180 degrees out. So there we are. Right, so that's that. Now we can quite safely pick this machine up, spin it around. Before I do that, I'm going to put that in there and put that on there like so. So that is now sitting comfortably there. And before I put the lid on, no, I have to put it, no I don't. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to plug him in, Dicky Minter, plug that in there. I'm going to turn it on. I've got to flick that. Oh, actually, I need to put the volume knob in first, because I mean, look at the quality here, right? It's got a tyre on the outside, which I've had to do, obviously, separately. And there's 2 more in there, 2 more tyres. That's the quality. Normally you just have a plastic knob, don't you? But oh no. So, and it's got a flat edge there, and a flat edge in there. So that must be 9 o'clock there. Now that's the volume. You see, that was right up, wasn't it? So let's keep the volume down. We'll push that little trigger, press play. Okay. And it's still not touching that tape, but does it make any difference? Right, you listen, ready? So you can see that tiny little bit of movement. That needs to go forward quite a bit more, doesn't it? So what I'm going to do is basically, I'm going to pad. I am not going to bend that. That's pointless. It's absolutely pointless, isn't it? Let's just do that again, see how far forward it moves. So that moves forward about 4 mil, but when you take your finger off the play button and it resorts back, it drops back again. Look. So I need to put some sort of rubbery, paddy sort of insulation on there, don't I? So it's still contacting this backside of the cassette tape itself. And I have this little thing, these little grids for the sticky. So I'm just going to put a couple across there. So I think that's about too wide, isn't it? Yeah, too wide. I'm going to do that. Give us a second and we'll see if that works. Frosty the Snowman. Right, I've not put it on yet. But I've been down the Shed of Dreams and I found an assortment, obviously, of pads. You see, felt. What's felt? Felt pads. There's a, what's that? I think 3 mil? 4 mil? Say 4 mil. That's, looks like 2 mil. Yeah, is it half the thickness of that? Don't know. Who cares? Anyway, I've built up this little plethora using 2 lengths of one of them. Obviously, I had to cut them down because they were too high, and then half of it I've stuck back on the front there. Now, let's have a go. Let's put that on. Let's put a cassette in there. Oh, that feels good. That does feel good. Let's have a play. Oh, we can't yet. Let's do it. No, let's do it properly. Let's do it properly. Okay, so that goes in there. Then you press the tab in that side. You press the tab in the other side. And it clicks in like so. Let's put the cassette in. Now, what's going on now? Is that... I'm not going back down. Yes, it is. So what's going on? Is that pad just too thick? Oh, okay. On. Everybody, do-si-do. Now, does that go on anywhere? Oh, goodness me. Right, so we put it on sort of in line with that dot. No, that's rubbish, isn't it? Let's put it in line. No. Yeah, let's put it back there. Let's push that in. Right, well, I can't play too much of that, but because I'll get a strike on here for copyright. So there you go. That was Lena Lovitch with Lucky Numbers. Probably. Well, that's working. Does it eject? Yes, it kind of, sort of does. Kind of, sort of. Okay, I reckon that felt's it's gonna wear in, is it? It's gonna compress a little. It's all a bit higgledy-piggledy, isn't it? It's not 100% brilliant at all, but it's mine and it works. I will no doubt spend the rest of my life fannying around with that little setup there. I cannot buy that little piece any longer. I might even, on a really quiet weekend in the summer next year, I might even sit out on the decking under the old canopy there and take that apart again and just try and gingerly bend over that little bracket and just see if it holds, see if that glue holds. What I did is I put some bicarb on it, done the old super glue and bicarbonate of soda trick, if you've seen that. You put whatever it is you want to glue, you put some glue on it, put the item on it, and then you build it up with layers of bicarbonate of soda, then more glue, bicarb, more glue, whatever, and you can sand it, file it, screw it, tap it, and it's rock hard. That's basically what I've done there. Right, well, that is pretty much it. I've just got knobs and buttons to put back on now. So, but what I did, right, Caroline said, do you want to handle anything? I said, no, it's fine. I've actually, no, I haven't, because inside there's some felt pads that go in there. And guess where they are? And there is no way I am taking off the bottom part to take the top part off, to take the bottom part off, to take the front part off, to put 5 little felt pads back in, to put it all back together again. I am going to sit here and I am going to wrestle each one back into the slot. Beg your pardon. Without putting them in, without taking it apart. I'll get there. Anyway, there you go. So yeah, thanks again for watching. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? Let's get our spare tyres put on. I cannot believe the quality of these parts. It is just incredible. And the complexity of this Marantz mechanism, if you like, is absolutely uncanny. It really is. See, it says vary speed there, right? I'll show you in a sec. So if you're, I don't know what context you would use that, but you can actually slow up and slow down and speed up the thing. Let's just put it on very quietly. Right. There's actually there's a click button there, look, which is the correct speed. And that's awesome, isn't it? Then you've got obviously record volume. When you're recording, incidentally, you're supposed to have it down, not up. Many people used to put it on up, and when you play the cassette back, it was so noisy. It was bloody ridiculous, and you've got just so much flutter, wow going on in the background. It was just bonkers. Anyway, what's it look like actually with just the knobs on it? You know what? I think I'm just going to leave it at that. Put these in the drawer with everything else. Everybody do-si-do. Luckily, you can still download the PDF manual for these, so I need to have a really good read of what it can do, what it can't do, what the things are for on it, because it is a very complex, like I say, complex little machiney. And I've washed the belt, and because I looked on the there we go, because I looked on, that's all right, isn't it? Looks like a CB radio, doesn't it? Goodness me. Oh, I looked on the PDF file and it actually shows you how to disassemble and wash it and what to wash it in, and how to reassemble, because I had that eyelet here, and it just, I just had to take it all apart and then put that back on there, and then that's that. So that's all ready to go. That is literally now ready to go. Let's put this on this side. That's it. I am ready to go and do some stuff. I will test this tomorrow on with batteries. It takes 4 because it's a 6-volt system. 4 D-type 1.5 volt batteries, D cells. Okay, well, thanks for watching again. Sorry if it's not to your taste, this type of thing, but I like to dabble in many things, computers and machinery and electronics and all that kind of stuff, and cars and bikes and planes and automobiles and trains. So there you go, rough with the smooth, isn't it? Anyway, after Christmas, like I say, it will be back on with the bikes, hopefully. Anyway, like I say, if I don't see you before, have a blooming good Christmas or good holidays or whatever it is you want to call it yourself. Yeah, take care and thanks for watching. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and the like button. That would be my best Christmas present ever. If everyone hit the like button, it would be awesome. It really would. Take care, and we'll see you in the new year. Okay, bye-bye.